Hello and welcome to the first episode of House Grimm's saga, titled Wedding Night. And as we lay our scene, the new lord and his brother of House Grimm have made their way over to the port on their lands, the port of known as Safe Haven, to meet with House Manning, one of the two houses coming to their land for a wedding. A ship has pulled into harbour, which looks of a typical Westerosi design. It's in good condition. It's clearly been well maintained, and the House Manning are coming off the ship. You can see it flying from the pendants, the symbol of House Manning, which is the red sea lion on a white field. And if I can just dig out the picture. I assume you'll stand there quite clearly recognisable as the people in charge. This fellow walks up to you. Evan, you recognise him. It's the face from your memory, if 10 years older.
He will get a polite bow, and he will say, "Good afternoon, Lord Manning. It is a pleasure to welcome you to Safe Haven."
Good day, Sir Knight. Thank you for your welcome, and thank you to your house for hosting us in these times.
Oh, by the way, are they providing the bride or the groom?
They're providing the groom.
He will say, "By all means, it is our pleasure to be of some help in these troubled times. Allow me to introduce myself in that case. My name is Rylan Grimm. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance properly. And this is my younger brother, Corin Grimm."
He gives you both a look in the eye and a nod. In your case, Corin, he's almost a little curt. He's clearly focused attention on the Lord and sideline you more than you would expect is typical. Thank you. I am Lord Arthur Manning. Allow me to introduce the happy groom, Sir Kevin, my eldest, and heir. Oh, and his younger brother, Darren. He waves somewhat dismissively.
If it helps, I never wave dismissively at my brother. He's my bro. Yeah. But Lord Grimm will give them a nod of, I acknowledge your existence.
You also see coming up behind them a white-bearded Meister. You can clearly tell he's a Meister from his black robes and his chains. Just checking in files. This is my Meister Hamdan, who's come with us to oversee the small matters of my house. The voyage was pleasant. I have no complaints there.
I'm gratified. It seems as though the gods themselves favor this union with calm seas and light breezes.
Is everything in order, Meister? Yes, my lord. I'll see to the unloading. Okay.
Anthony, they brought their own Meister. You may have to have a Meister off to see whose chain is longer.
We don't need to test who has the bigger cane.
I said chain. You said cane. I assume that was on purpose.
No, I misheard you and thought you said cane.
It worked if you had said cane, but moving swiftly.
Yeah.
He will look to the he'll look back to the Lord and he'll say, I have no doubt that however pleasant your voyage was long, so if you would care to follow us, we have had food laid on at Vigil's Rest. What's the name of our keep? Is it Vigil's Rest?
Adder's Rest.
Adder's Rest. We've had food laid on for you at Adder's Rest, and indeed, you will be able to take some much needed succor before the other guests arrive.
Splendid. Thank you. Okay, so their household handles the unloading and the packing up and the moving. Obviously, they appreciate any help that your people can provide. There'll be an opportunity while you're riding back home with them to make small talk with them if you want to. There's Lord Arthur, there's Master Hamden, and there's of course the groom, Sir Kevin, or technically his brother. You'll know. In fact, if you're not going to express a particular preference, Sir Kevin's quite happy to speak to a fellow knight. Which you can take as both of you. I assume you're riding together.
I will say, Sir Kevin, if it will not offend you. Sorry, no, not. Sorry, was it Lord? He wished to just say one thing to Lord Arthur, but he'll say, Lord Arthur, I will say, as they're riding, I remember your presence at the Battle of the Trident. You fought well that day.
Thank you, Sir Knight. It was a bloody day, and there were a great many faces that day. But I was surprised to hear of your return. I had thought you were gone.
He will. Sorry, what was the last thing you said, Nathan?
I was surprised when I heard of your return.
Oh, and why is that?
First, after so many years, there were rumours of all sorts that you had quit these shores for good and made a new home for yourself in Bravos.
Indeed, I spent some time in Bravos. It is a beautiful city. Have you ever been?
I haven't. No. Is it true what they say about the Titan?
That it can piss fire if it wants to. The Titan is a fantastic fortress, but it is just as the same as any fortress or tower, merely wrought in an interesting shape. But yes, where it is that it can weep forth boiling oil is indeed tastefully placed.
I do hope all matters can be resolved smoothly. Our families have been at conflict for, well, most of my life, certainly. And I have buried too many sons already.
He'll look back at his brother and kind of exchange a look before shrugging, and he'll say, we have done everything in order to make sure that your stay will be as pleasant, comfortable, and safe as possible.
Thank you.
Those of the... Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to... those of you in the noble family of Sam will have rooms for you. Unfortunately, your servants may have to find places to camp.
Thank you. I'm sure that won't be a problem. So for my family with us, it's just myself and my two sons, and the Meister. If you can find, he's getting on. If you can find a good bed for him, that would be appreciated.
Indeed, I have no doubt that Maester Julius will be very pleased of intelligent company.
Okay, Maester Julius, do you want to make any notable talk with Hamden now, or you plan to do that privately later?
Do it privately later.
Fine. Okay. I assume you make idle small talk along the road, but okay, nothing of consequence.
Buy ravens! Now look at ravens! How I assume Maesters compare penis sizes.
Yeah, he has ravens.
Okay. Anthony, do you want to give me a perception type roll?
How dost thou doest that?
Um,
Are you talking about a intrigue, defense, composure?
no.
I could do an awareness roll.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, awareness is fine.
Okay, where's the dice roller?
Use anyone you like. That's fine.
AlwaysRollWell.com. Yeah, you're so bleeding lucky. So that's 3d6, I believe. Okay. 3d6. Do I add up the total, or is it
You add up the dice. If you've got an ability, you take off those dice. I drop the lowest. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. Because I have a 3 in awareness. So, alright. So I think the total is 14.
Okay, we'll go with that. Fine. Okay. While you're making idle small talk, you can obviously admire the Meister's chain, and you've obviously got some idea of which each of the metal links relate to, and you can try and eye up and think, oh, that's probably iron, that's probably bronze. Generally speaking, what strikes you about this fellow is he's got a decent sized chain for a middle-aged Meister, but it's a very varied chain. To you, he looks like a generalist. He hasn't got anything blatantly like exotic or blatantly exceptional focus in any area. He has not got the special, very rare link that you have, at least that you can see.
Right, so he's assuming he hasn't got it, he's probably going to have noticed I have the Valyrian steel link.
Unless you've want to wear it in such a way that it's hard to spot, you can do, but it's up to you.
Oh no, my point is he's going to have noticed it because chain.
Well,
I don't bother concealing the links I've got.
Okay, fine. If it's obvious, it's obvious. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So. Okay, so your general demeanor of Arthur. I mean, he's getting on in his years. Keeps his beard neatly trimmed. Does look very much like his older son, Kevin. It's the family resemblance is quite blatant. He does not have a wife with him.
Actually, you know what? Let's comment on that. Your wife did not travel with you, sir.
He looks down for a moment.
Corn's just gonna kind of lean over to his brother. She passed away.
Oh. Standard Targaryen does not give a fuck face.
Terribly hard to hear about your loss.
It was a while ago. My son's all the family I have now, and perhaps I can hope for grandchildren in the near future.
Indeed. And thus it is, he feels like an ass.
Okay. 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 So, shall we say that whilst the two lords have been talking, Sir Kevin has been striking a bit of a conversation with Koran, just right
sure.
behind.
Corin was going to ask him if he's met the bride to be yet.
No, we've never met, but I hear she's a real beauty.
That's what I hear as well.
Quite fortunate, really. I mean, the marriage is to bring about peace. That's the main thing. I would have married her if she wasn't pretty, but I don't know. It's times like this. It makes you wonder about the passage of time. That there must come a time in life when a man must accept his duty. I mean, you could probably relate. Like you, I'm a second son, or was. I never expected lordship, but it seems now it will one day pass to me.
Who can really predict what's going to happen these days? It seems like such a tumultuous time.
Okay. You'll get the sense from just looking at him as he rides along. He's clearly a knight. He's clearly got the muscles for it. He's clearly got he looks like a rough and tumble type of fellow. He's physically built, and he looks certainly more than competent with the horse he's riding. So tall by Westall standards. I think he does. I mean, up close, you'll notice that he's plain. In fact, you may notice that he's got a few pox scars. But still, look, definitely, this is a fellow who can handle himself. No doubt about it. The way he rides so comfortably. He's currently just wearing riding leathers. In fact, he's just skewing any finery. So tell me about yourself. Don't think we've met before.
Oh no. I enjoy bow hunting. I lived in the keep just about all of my life. I started the hunt there. So.
Do you have aspirations to follow in your brother's footsteps and become a knight?
Oh, I'm sure I will go down that path once it's time. If you don't mind me saying so, you seem like a man who's more comfortable on the battlefield than in a hold. You think it's going to...
I've had to be. I always expected, as I said, my older brother to become the Lord. I expected to serve him as a knight, and I've had to give good service in this feud. But sadly, he's no longer with us. So now I'll have to one day play the Lord. You hear he speaks to his brother behind him. You hear that, Darren? And you'll have to step up and be my knight. Darren gives her like a smile, but doesn't look terribly impressed by the comment.
Just that kind of okay smile.
Yeah. Okay. Well, shall we say that time passes and you arrive back? Shall we have just a few minutes of Meister nerding?
Ooh, that sweet Meister on Meister action.
So
yeah, we can, yeah.
Okay, or you can not. It's fine for me. Yeah. Okay, so I'm assuming you're taking him up to your tower, or not?
Yes, go up to the tower. Though of meticulous, some of the more banishable things, like in cupboards and things.
Okay, yeah, you've
My,
had
my
time to tidy up in advance. You knew they were coming. Okay. So this is your home meister. Have you been with the family long?
the king.
I didn't get any of that.
He says, "I've served them most of my life, though I'm not entirely sure who was actually on the throne when I returned from Essos."
Oh, you are clearly well travelled.
Poss-
What?
It was
What?
before the Mad King. Definitely before the Mad King. Aegon the Unlikely, possibly.
Before I think before my time, or at least before my memory. No, I imagine you must have given very long service then here.
Yes.
Hmm.
I'm proud to do so.
And is all well with the family here? Is there anything that we should be mindful of?
Not a great deal, I would say.
Hmm.
Mostly just the fact that there is, obviously some questions to the air.
Oh, how so?
Well, the eldest son has returned. Would have assumed your masters were intelligent enough to have spotted the obvious problem.
I think your Lord Ryland greeted us as the Lord here. Is that not the case?
Perceptions at the beginning and end of a game.
Anthony, just an important point, because you weren't here for the thing where we did it. I did go to River Run and swore my oath, so it is official.
Ah, right. So you did what
Just
I
you
told
were
you to do.
exactly what you told me to. Yes.
Good.
Just something you would be aware of, because like I don't want you to kind of bumble down the road and go like this, and this, and just for it to be told, no, that's not what happened.
In that case, yes, I don't think there's much of an issue.
Are there any particular customs in this house that we should be aware of?
I'm not entirely sure. Customs that are unique to this house.
Well,
we do tend to do a lot of our ceremonies in the Godswood.
That's admirable. I mean, House Manning keeps the old gods. But I believe
House Hast.
I believe House Hart follow the seven, and we have agreed that we will accept a marriage under the light of the seven for this purpose.
I would suggest that, nevertheless, we don't have a sept here, and at least if it's in the Godswood, it can still be a ceremony of the seven, but best to keep old gods and new happy.
That would be agreeable to House Manning. We would not require it, but we would certainly be pleased with that.
And of course, as I say, we don't have a sept. It's the most, I would say, probably the closest thing we have. And it is the place we do all of our major ceremonies.
Very well. Well, as I said, we would be most pleased to have it before the weirwood tree, with the old gods bearing witness. But we'll see what House Hart have to say on that. I would not want to derail things simply on that account. True. After all, these are ultimately but superstitions. Come now, we are men of reason. We do not really believe that gods live in trees, do we? No, not him.
I have.
I-
And I suspect that the trees. I suspect that the. But one must always consider. Presumption that something doesn't exist.
Anthony, we can barely hear you.
Yeah.
Try and say something now. I recommend killing some of your applications.
I don't really have any on. I'm on my phone.
Oh,
Is that better?
that's better. It's a signal thing.
Right.
Okay.
I've raised my phone up now.
Okay, right. We were saying that, we are made of Sweden. Surely the gods do not live in trees.
Perhaps. Maybe not the gods. But then again, if you were to ask the men of 500 years ago, do they believe in giant flying lizards that can breathe fire on a whim? They'd have run around screaming that you were mad for believing in such a thing. But a few centuries later, giant flying lizards arrived. I think it's safe to say that we can't be certain of every detail in the world, no matter how reasonable we are. Unless, of course, you happen to know where in the Citadel I can acquire a perfect, 100% accurate map of Beyond the Wall, or even King's Landing.
He looks unimpressed. Oh, come now. You cannot believe every little superstition and every boggart and scrumpkin that exists beyond the wall. Where would it end?
It would end, Maester, with us testing every supposition. We would test them. We would find them to be true or false. I'm not going to deny something simply because it seems ridiculous. I'll only deny something once you can demonstrate to me that my efforts to prove it have proven false.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it there. I see we now have a fourth player. Okay. Hi, Caleb. Hello,
Caleb.
Hey.
It generally takes him a second for his thing to warm up.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, let's. Okay. So, shall we? Okay. I'm just thinking the other way. Shall we say that you sent out Sahosta with a few of the knights to greet the hearts, and you'll meet them as they arrive at your keep?
Makes
Yes,
sense.
that's valid.
Okay. And you'll also know as soon as the Malins arrived, Roger of the guards was making sure that they were immediately offered bread and salt as they were instructed, and they all were happily accepted. Right. Okay. So, say while people have been busy, so Desmond can be first on the scene to meet with the hearts as they arrive.
Check.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep, you're there.
Okay, so Desmond, you are waiting at the gates for the return, accompanied by some of your knights for House Hart. Their shield looks like this. Let me know if that link works. Okay, and riding at the head of their column, next to Sir Hoster, is the fellow pictured. He rides up, stops at the gates. You sees you stand there as someone clearly in charge. Good evening, Sir Knight.
What was that? How fare thee this day?
He takes a deep breath. Looks tired. I am Lord Gerald of House Hart. It allows me to introduce, just as the woman next to him, my good wife Ella. And on behalf of House Hart, I thank you for hosting us in this happy day.
Of course. Thank you for allowing us to share this day with you. A wedding is always a happy ordeal.
Indeed.
I am Sir Desmond of House Grimm. Welcome to my house. Well, I am not the lord of the manor, but I welcome you all the same.
Dude, he takes a moment, looks up, buys the keep. And allow me the small honor of presenting the happy bride to be, Lady Sylvie Hart. And the lady she introduces, the 18-year-old flower of Westeros womanhood. The chestnut hair curled in ringlets. She smiles at you with a little smile. And my other daughter, Elena, who, compared to her, looks much more of not unattractive, but should we say a plain-looking girl of perhaps 15. Is everything in order with your preparations, Sir Desmond?
To my recollections, or to my knowing, yes. We have we've made sure that this area is well and truly secure. Nothing should be happening during it. And your rooms should all be ready for you to stay in.
Splendid. Okay, so Desmond, Elena, the second daughter, is looking quite shy. She's averting her gaze. She's hiding something. That she is the person mentioned in your brief. Just for reference.
Yep.
Okay. She's looking happy, but given a daughter looks that you think convey a meaning that only sisters would understand.
I'm just going to sit over here with my attractive advantage, being like,
Oh, and allow me to introduce allow me to introduce Septon Moore, here to conduct the service.
And I'll give him whatever Westerosi, greeting that would befit someone of his station.
I think it's father, unless anyone knows otherwise. You can go with that.
But I mean, I'm not a follower of the Seven, but I'm still observing all.
That's still his title. or you could just use his name. That's also works. Okay, so the scepter looks like he's quite a tall, thin fellow with receding hair, dressed in very, even by Septon standards, he's dressed in a very conservative robes. Very plain, a bit more, slightly more austere than Septons can get away with. Okay.
I can't see, but I'm giving a very suspicious squint, like I'm talking to the the high sparrow.
Yeah. So, the Lord, they start to dismount. Are there any customs or arrangements we should be aware of?
Well, I mean, obviously the bread and salt is being offered. I mean, that's,
of course, they are all happily accepting the bread and salt.
Anyone doesn't, you know what to do.
Yeah, they're clearly happy with the custom. He's got an entourage with him. He's got a few household knights. He's got some servants, hangers on. Okay. You do get a brother, the knightly brotherhood nod from quite a dashing young fellow in knightly dress, dark hair, flashing green eyes, cheerful smile. Looks like you've not met Jaime Lannister, but from what you've heard of him, that kind of like dashing gallivant knight.
We're not ugly as shit. I would probably be just like him. So good.
Okay, and okay, so the two parts arrive. I'm going to suggest we do a scene cut to the welcome meal, which is in the main hall. So unless you've given other instructions, the servants have set up a high table for yourselves and the immediate families. And they've got long tables down both sides with the groom's household on the right and the bride's household on the left. And I think Lily was quite clear she wanted the room decked out in their house colours, so that's been arranged. And your servants are coming in with various courses. Tables laid out. There's a course of roast mutton. It's been turned on the spit all day, marinated with spices, and then crusted with salt. Roasted root vegetables, mostly carrots and turnips. Onions baked in gravy. Loaves of fresh bread served with butter and honey. And there's plenty of ale and some wine. You'll note all the ale is quite weak table ale, the sort of thing normally served to children. That was as per your instructions to keep the alcohol down. But the high table at least has certainly decent quality wine.
That's And I have my own stuff.
Okay. There is plenty of chance for polite conversation over welcome meal. Does anyone want to talk to anyone in particular?
I think that Ryland has probably done what Ryland does, which is I'm going to tell wacky stories about Essos to people because I can.
Okay. People are certainly listening politely. Sir Kevin is looking more genuinely interested and impressed. Are you telling the true stories, or are you embellishing, or do you want to give us anything?
Needless to say, considering I'd never seen an elephant before, and all of a sudden I'm rolling through the mire with one of the beasts attempting to trample me to death, you can imagine that I had rather a violent reaction to the fact that you can imagine that my first reaction to them has become, ever since then, rather turbulent in affair.
There's general, at least interest and amusement. Some seems more genuine than others. Okay. Colin, do you want to? Are you watching anyone in particular? On the feast.
What was the second daughter of House Hart? Elena?
Elena, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna see what she's up to.
Okay.
Small talk with her.
Okay, she's her body language continues to seem quite shy. Oh. So, what splendid tales do you have here in your house, Colin?
Oh. I remember. Sorry.
I'm so happy for my sister, but she looks at her, gives her the eyes.
Is there like a kind of role I can figure out what she means by that
Yeah,
look?
sure. Okay. Yeah, I think it's that awareness role.
Okay.
Which is what does that come under?
It comes under the awareness skill.
Okay.
Thanks, Evan.
Which is off which ability?
Awareness. Awareness is both an ability and a skill. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
I'll pull my sheet real quick, sorry. I had it up and then it decided to not be up anymore for whatever reason.
Ah, yes. Okay, yeah, no, it said put a notice check off awareness, right. Yeah, none of the NPCs seem to have that NPC does have awareness. These NPCs don't. That's a bit weird. Right.
That is really weird.
Yeah, okay. Actually, technically, it's an empathy, but just do a simple roll and tell what you get.
Okay. Is that 2? I just add them up whenever I roll, right?
Yep, sure.
4. Oof.
4?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oops. Okay. Okay. No, you can't really tell very much. You might reasonably suspect that on a wedding day, a sister might be jealous of her other sister getting all the attention. But whether there's more to it than that, you don't know.
Right.
You will. Okay. Where were we? You also noticed that while you're sort of sat opposite her talking that she makes a small talk with some of the maids when they come out to serve the dishes, which is not something which a lot of people wouldn't do. Just idle small talk by the sound of it, but strikes you as obviously a bit uncommon behaviour. So, tell me about yourself, Colin.
Oh, not much to tell really. I stay here and I help out around the hold. And I enjoy bow hunting and everything. But how about yourself? You see,
oh, me. Father's mostly kept me cloistered away. Quite obviously, we've had troubles in our land. It's been good. I mean, I've been kept safe. But, have you heard of any tourneys coming up? I do hope I can go and visit one.
out of character, are there any tournaments coming up?
Not that you've
I
heard
know
about. No.
Nope.
We don't have proper tournaments in the north like you do down here in the south. With
Well, I haven't.
a chance to dress up and see the knights in their shiny armor.
I haven't heard of any coming up. I haven't heard of any coming up, but if I do, I'll be sure to send you and your house an invitation.
Oh, you would, thank you. Perhaps you could escort me to the tournament.
Yeah, that sounds lovely.
Okay. Right, is there anyone else anyone would like to talk to? Or pay special attention to, shall we say? That's also valid.
I'm just finishing eating. I have a word of ultimate stuff.
So you're breaking up there?
Just give me 1 moment.
Okay. Caleb, do you want to do a notice roll off awareness?
I'm trying to. Okay, I'm not trying to give anybody the particular eye. I'm trying to keep an eye out for any trouble before it arises.
Okay. So you're looking for troublemakers. Okay.
Yeah, it's just the general, what he's doing. Well, that's my job, what I'm supposed to be doing anyway. I really don't care about the wedding.
By all means, have a notice roll.
Okay, so this is all new to me.
So you're rolling your
awareness. That's awareness
or notice if you've got it, and so if you just roll that way d6 for awareness, add them up. And if you've got the ability, the ability as well, the notice ability, you add that, but you add those extra dice, then drop your lowest.
Yep.
Okay. Like here, do we have a dice room, or am I just
use any dice roller you feel like?
Okay.
We keep misusing.
I will. I'll point out I don't know this game well enough to cheat. So that's my opinion on the things as of right now. The guy that's bad at cheating at D&D. I keep rolling ones. I'm awesome. Okay, so roll, because I have a 3 in awareness, so roll 3d6.
Yeah, and you just add up.
2, a 6, and a 1. That's a 9.
Okay.
Drop it.
Sure. You keep yourself slightly removed from the conversation to keep like an eagle eye across the room. There's no looks like they're going to cause trouble this evening. There are a few people in both households who are giving each other cold looks across the room. Not on the top table with the families. It's more the servants and the hangers on. Obviously there's ill feeling there, but no one's done anything directly violent, directly provocative tonight. You do notice Sir Eaton, that's the dashing knight you met earlier, is giving it's keeping a close watch over Sylvie, the bride. He's not sat at the top table. He's sat at the close end of the table with his household.
All right.
So yeah, I think that if that answers your what you're looking for,
that's good.
Okay. Evan, were you looking for watching anyone in particular?
Yes, I was going to have a word with the Septon.
Okay. Yes, that should certainly be arranged.
Just an important note about Rylan for the record, because if it ever becomes applicable, Rylan actually, whenever he drinks, like if he has to drink wine, he'll always water it. Like he will never drink. He never gets drunk. He doesn't drink to excess.
But I will assume the servants know that I've given you watered wine.
So hang on just a second, guys. I just have to nip out of the room for like 10 minutes, or less than 10 minutes, because I have to go and collect something from outside. So I'll be back in just 2 seconds.
No, my nephew's a pussy.
Okay.
Well, if anybody
Okay.
wants me to pick anybody's pockets, I can do that too. While they're all here.
Actually, with that role you've done, Desmond, since you're on the top table, you also notice Darren Manning, the younger brother. He's also making. He's definitely making eyes towards the bride.
I mean, I'm going to notice that.
Yeah, you can certainly notice that because you've got a good role and you're at the same table, so you can definitely notice that. I mean, they do look about the same age as well.
I mean, like I don't know if maybe there's something going on between them. More importantly,
He's definitely making eyes towards her.
Yeah. For me, most importantly, that's not what I care about. But at the same time, I'd be like, if something happens, I got it.
So, okay, so the Sapton's just talking generally to your family. So, tell me, does your house keep the old gods or the new?
Finish off my my goblet of wine. I personally keep to the old, and we have a god's wood here, but we're not opposed to the new gods. Just traditionalists here.
Looks disapprovingly. What of your small folk hereabouts? Are they of the faith?
Okay, that's one I don't know out of character, but I assume my character would know
They're
passingly.
Generally more disposed to the old gods. I mean, they try not to offend either, but they're more of the old god persuasion because they're first men.
Yeah. Say, well, they're me, like me, many of the people here are first men, and well, that comes with doesn't it?
It gives you like a slightly like almost a I'm disappointed in you look. So Desmond, were you not named in the Light of the Seven?
I think my character was.
Yeah, you probably well, the house follows it, so you would be baptized essentially.
Yeah. You'll say I was.
Why then? What then has caused you to forsake the gods of your fathers?
Well, we see a lot of awful things in war, don't we?
But it is the warrior who guards us in war, and this is the warrior that you should pray to if you go into battle.
I have my morning star.
Sorry about that, guys. My mother was just giving me my suitcase for traveling, and I need to go down and collect it.
Yeah, that I'll say he has his morning star on his hip, and he says, "That's mostly what I trust when it goes into combat. That's mostly what I am having my faith in. That and my brothers in arms. Do I believe that higher powers can get you through? Yes, of course. But for the most part, that is where my faith relies."
Again, he's giving.
Oh God, are we having the conversation about faith?
He's giving you.
I didn't bring it up.
He's giving you a slightly sort of disapproving look.
Again, my character has the marked drawback, so that means his face is like messed up or something. I just gaze back at him with my ugly ass mug and be like, "It's fine though. I have no ill will towards anybody who does follow the faith, but I have absolutely nothing but love for anybody here in this kingdom who does." But
you at least you do not put your faith in trees then.
Let's not go that. again, we have a God's Wood here.
Okay. But you say that most of your family and your father's fathers, they are all named in the Light of the Seven. Turns to Lord Vannon.
Well, to my knowledge, they were named in the Light of the Seven, but we're first men here.
Desperately tries to hide the silver hair. Desperately tries. No, not really. He'll lean back in his chair and he'll say, in Cohor, they worship the black goat. In Bravos, they worship many gods. There's an entire island dedicated to temples. In Ashai, beyond the shadow, the red god, and in Volantes, well, many things. He'll shrug. I'm led to understand in the Summer Isles they worship gods of debauchery in the flesh, because that is how they do. Ultimately, whatever faith a man keeps close to his heart is the faith that exists there. It does not matter what it is that he calls truth, provided you yourself know in your own heart what you call truth.
And I'll raise a glass to the Lord of the Manor for that. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's quite true. I could not have said that better. Just I do not have that way with words, nephew. Oh, my lord.
Okay. Stern, disapproving looks. He's clearly disappointed.
Out of character, shits I don't give.
But as you've just described, the foreigners worship unclean spirits, or perhaps their own base debauchery.
Yeah, that's true. But of my own experiences and what I've seen, it is the act of holding faith and the act of keeping faith and the act of being trying to be genuinely a good knight and all the things that ascribes to that. Whether you're from that faraway land where they have castles or some such shenanigans on the edge of some sort of strange boundary, I don't know, all the way to here. If you treat your fellow nobleman with respect, and you treat the small folk with respect, I don't really care.
But to answer your question, I was born and named in the Light of the Seven. As my current pet project for the castle, as it misses one, and I believe it would do the small folk good to have one in the local area, so that they may choose where it is they choose to bend their heads in prayer. Because I believe in the choice to have whatever religion it is you
to worship the
seven, in the choice of faith. If one is presented a mirror seven, that merely makes their enrichment of the faith all the more grand, as they could have picked otherwise, but chose to walk in the light.
But that is no choice at all. One can choose to walk in the light of the seven and reach the seven heavens, or as you say, they could choose to worship trees and demons and be cast into the seven hells.
I'll give him a hard look, and I'll kind of with my drink, not quite loud or like boom, but just bunk, like pushing it to get the look I'm giving him. I feel like we should change the subject. Did I ever tell you about the time I beat a man's chest in?
Oh, do tell that story again. I love it.
It's really short. I beat a man's chest in. His ribs came out his back. That happened once. And then he just kind of sits in the quiet, just the obvious awkward silence that follows a statement like that.
Awkward silence settles. Okay. Time passes. The servants are clearing away the meat course and the vegetable course. They're bringing in, there's loads of fresh bread and wheels of pale sharp cheese, and again plenty of weak ale. Well, no. I mean, you'll get a sense in the wider room. People seem generally on their own tables quite happy. They're drinking, they're making merry in their own way. There are some sounds of laughter. There's some people are tossing tidbits or bones to the dogs. And that there is a certain level of general cheer in the hall, at least. The groom is certainly enjoying the feast. He's eaten fairly well. I mean, he does look like a very tall, strapping man. The bride has also generally been having quite a healthy appetite. To say she's in no way she's got a very impressive figure, but clearly tonight she's been eating quite well. Okay, so let's say we're now on the bread and cheese course. Again, there is fresh wine is served to your table there, and there's some cheaper wine being served to at least the better end of the lower tables.
Yeah, I know that they're going to probably talk shit about us later about us serving cheap wine, but you know what? If it means no fist fight or murders, then awesome.
Okay, Anthony, do you want to make a notice roll?
Okay, hold on. Notice. Do you mean awareness again?
Yes. Awareness is the type of test that goes to the book, so it's awareness skill.
Okay, that's a 15.
Okay. Bride's looking a bit pale, losing colour in her cheeks.
I'm going. Okay, is the maester of her household there?
Probably sat opposite you.
Okay. I'm going to stand up, walk over to her house's maester, and mention it into his ear that she's looking a little pale, and perhaps he might wish to have a word.
Notice it now. Notice it when you point it out. Very good. Yes. You quite all right, lady. She's getting up, and he's helping her up.
Oh fuck! Looks. Hold on, Nathan.
Yes.
I'd like to make a medicine check to see if I recognize any of her symptoms with relation to poisoning.
There's nothing you can notice from where you are. I mean, if you were to properly examine her or her food, you could.
Right.
If you want to examine her food, like that's in front of her, a drink, you can do. Like you could smell it and.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just work something out here. Okay. Has she been getting served from communal plates?
Some of the plates have certainly been communal. Yes, obviously the wine was poured by servants. And I think that with at least one or two of the courses, like the meat course, that may have been given. Here's your plate with your meat portion. There's communal plates with the veg for you to add on as much as you want.
Right. So it is very possible that she's been individually poisoned.
She's mostly been served by your servants, but yes.
That doesn't necessarily mean diddly.
The master is sort of helping her out. She's walking. She just obviously looks a bit unsteady on her feet. Looks like she.
Is she choking?
Not choking as such, but it looks like she's trying to hold. Okay. Take her over to. Okay, you go. She looks like she's been led out the room. Are you going with them? Anyone?
Very calmly.
I'm gonna go with them. And have a bucket brought.
Rylan will kind of see the maesters leave with the girl. Is it clear that their maester is helping to support some of her weight?
certainly, yes. Go on then. He's walking though, so he's more steadying her, shall we say?
That's fair. He will look at Julius and he'll say, "Make sure that the bride has an easy evening, Uncle Julius. We wouldn't want her to have a feathers ruffled."
Remember, Maester Julius.
Oh, my apologies. Yes, he will have
Remember
said. He will have said Maester Julius.
Okay.
He will have said Maester Julius. I'm just really tired.
Okay.
Okay.
She gets helped out, and once she's out the room, she and throws up.
Violently sick.
Yes.
Good thing I had the bucket brought.
I'll be all right. Thank you for the concern. It's probably just nerves. Maybe my stomach turned from the long trip.
Possibly, Mulaney. Possibly.
If my room is ready, perhaps I should retire for the night.
I'll look to her house's maester for the group, whether or not he agrees or not, because he knows her better than I do.
Okay. Yeah. Perhaps you could lead us to the room, Julius.
Very well. If you're this way, and he'll lead them both up to her room.
Okay. Yeah. We take them up to the room, and she has a good drink of water. She seems more or less okay. I mean, she seems like somebody who just vomited, and a bit drained and tired. But
well, once I've got them to their room,
yeah.
and I've sent the maester on the way, or he's gone inside or whatever, and I'm more or less alone.
He's okay. Okay. He gets a bit confused as to why am I. Okay, we're all done here now. We're good. She's going to bed now. I'm leaving. Why are you still here? He's giving you a slight odd look.
Yes. Well, no, I'm not going to stick around. I have my own things to do.
Okay.
Basically, once I'm alone and the other maester isn't there,
okay,
I'm going to find a servant.
Yes.
And tell them to ask Lord Ryland when the feast is over to come to my tower.
Okay.
And I'm also going to I'm going to try and find a couple of guards from the walls and assign them to that door.
Okay. As I recall, you did assign an honor guard to the bride and the groom. So, Master Hamden goes back to the feast and announces at the top table, "It's okay. She's just tired from the trip. She's gone to bed." And one of your household knights will go over and stand vigil at her door.
Good.
Because Ryland is also a very clever bunny, his response is going to be, No. You will not just stand vigil at her door. I'm also going to place a man outside to watch the window. And to watch the window of the groom's room. Because I am damned if someone's going to creep or climb up and sneak through the window.
Okay. Yeah, you make arrangements to secure windows as well. That's fine. I'm not really sure they seem to have windows.
They could do. I'm just saying in case they do. If they don't have anything that someone could fit through, forget what I have said.
You secure appropriate entrances, yes. Okay. So the feast, many of the feast ends on a bit of a sour note after the people noticed, the bride's disappeared early. That's a bit odd. But there's still general good cheer. Down the other end, people are still a little merry from the drink, at least. So they're good cheer, as I say. And people are breaking up and making preparations to bed down wherever they appropriately can. Is there anything else you want to do, guys? Or do you want to have a family council?
Well, I obviously have to speak to Rylan in the tower.
So. does that really need to be just you two, or can it be all the other players as well?
It can be all the players if they like.
Okay, well, why don't you have all 4 of you in the tower then?
Okay.
Circle the wagon, so as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will have, however, Nathan,
Yes.
have, because presumably the food she was eating will presumably have been moved off table.
I'm happy for you to have secured the at least the last course she was eating and her cup.
Yeah, basically I'm going to arrange for the food she had when it's cleared away and the drink she had when it's cleared away to have been diverted up to the tower so I can actually have tests done on it properly. Fine.
Well, you've already done a medicine roll, haven't you? So we'll go with that, unless you have something else that's relevant. Okay, you run what tests you can. It seems fine. You can't detect any recognizable poison. You could. I mean, are you tested on a raven? I mean, what do you want to do with it?
Well, I'm going. Let's see. I think the most obvious solution would be, like, I've probably got rats in cages.
Fair enough.
In that case, put a bit of each of the different foods and a bit of the drink into small bowls. 1 bowl in each rat's cage, and then wait to see if any of them just die or start vomiting.
The rats are very keen on the cheese and like it a lot.
Aww.
The rats also enjoy the wine. And clearly look worse for wear.
Right, that's fine.
You didn't really get the first course, the vegetables and the meat, because that was of course long before this happened. That was taken away earlier.
Yes. Although there's any left, I may end up calling down to the kitchens to have samples brought.
There is some left, but it's not really like hard to recognize it as hers rather than just general.
That's true. Bugger.
But you can certainly get samples of what's there, and there's nothing wrong that seems to be wrong with it.
Right. So none of the rats are getting visibly like poisonously sick.
Well, one of them is quite drunk.
Small stick, just prod it. Bad, Theodore. Bad.
Hey, I'm actually surprised you didn't name it Desmond. In character.
Okay, so do you want to have your family conflab?
Yes. Door opens. You're all welcomed in. There are seats waiting for you.
Desmond takes a seat.
Corin will take a seat.
Very calmly, but without taking a seat, he'll kind of stand at the back of his chair and he'll say, very kind of matter-of-factly, "Was she poisoned, Uncle?"
I can't tell. He'll point at all the rats' cages. So far, all I've got is one highly inebriated rat.
I'm right here.
Not you. Rat with a tail. And so far, doesn't appear that the food I was able to recover has been poisoned. As to whether or not her earlier courses were, I can't determine. It's entirely possible the girl was simply nervous. But the timing is unfortunate. And if her stomach had been bad, I don't think she'd have been eating as heartily as she was.
Fascinating.
The only problem is she was served by our house staff.
Someone can always...
God damn it, Nathan, that's amazing.
I mean, it's not that hard to either bribe one, do something innocuous, or simply slip something into somebody's something, you know?
But it's not the ease of it that's the problem, dear brother. It's the question of how our guests will react if they discover the bride was poisoned by one of our own people.
It won't.
I don't want to be standing in the way of the man holding the sword at that point.
No, that's my job. Your job is to make sure anybody who does get poisoned, make sure they don't expire from it. I'll keep any man with sword. Well, again, there's that story I always tell people about that time I bashed a man's chest in. I really need to put more details in that story. I always get complaints about that. So, do you think something is actually untoward, or do you think she just has an upset stomach? I'm not hearing anything. I don't know if it's just me.
No,
I said, I have my suspicions, but we can't be certain.
Well, the simplest way to do this.
She's from House Hart, isn't she?
yes.
Remember what we saw? A stag with its belly torn out.
That's quite possible. I will personally say what we should do is pull a shell game on whoever's doing this. All the main all the main guests are going to have their dishes. Where from now on, tell the staff that every dish is to be prepared ahead of time before being given to them. And what we're going to do is swap them at the last second.
That's certainly possible, provided the bride doesn't ask for anything specific.
And if she does, fuck it, I don't care. You're like, oh, we can't acquiesce to
Well,
request.
my honored brother, or my honored uncle, he'll say, laying his hand on his shoulder, have I ever told you about a fascinating tradition that they have in Carth, whereby it's tradition for the host of the where it's tradition for the host of the household to personally serve their honored guests their plates?
I mean, I don't know that that's a thing. You could be making this up, but fuck it, that sounds smart. People will go for that sort of kitschy thing.
So myself and Corin here could quite easily simply serve them their plates when it comes to dinner. Well, I'm quite amenable to that. Corin, what do you think?
Seems like a plan to me.
Entirely honorable tradition.
I have heard in some religious circles the concept of the servant is the highest station. You could definitely get away with that sort of thing. Be like, as head of the house, I am showing something, 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 me serving you, something, something. Because, and he sort of makes a flourish like it's you doing it. Because I'm incredibly interesting, and I'm incredibly from some place that isn't here. Ha 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 ha. The thing is, again, as I said, you can pretty much make up any custom. I highly doubt anybody in the room has ever been there or has been there and has been there enough to care. That's not how that works. You didn't go to this region. You didn't go to the small neighborhood of that city that I said I'm from. Ha 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 ha.
But very well. We will serve their dishes tomorrow and make sure that nothing is placed into them or onto them in the kitchen in the process. However, he'll look at them and say, just to be safe, Uncle, just to be safe, Uncle Julius, tonight, why don't you prepare a number of possible counter venoms for the most common of poisons that you would use to snare or poison someone at dinner?
Nathan, is that doable?
Yes. It's not unreasonable. You may have some of them. I'll be honest with you, though. Westerosi poison science, it's much bigger on the poisoning than the antidotes.
Right.
But you could certainly also prepare apparatus. If someone is getting poisoned, you could try and make them throw up, and you could give them something to make them throw up. For example.
So time to start preparing the emetics and the fucking charcoal powder.
That would at least help. You've got quite high medicine, haven't you?
Yes.
You may have also figured out there's the poison, there's the strangler that causes people to suffocate, and obviously if you use what's called a suture, a breathing tube down the throat.
Yeah.
And you
I do have knowledge research of 4 knowledge and 3 bonus dice. So I could do a roll to try and figure out if there are any poison antidotes in my books.
I'm assuming you'll have stuff. You won't have outright antidotes, but you'll know the medical procedures, and you can prepare the medical procedures to help in the case of poisoning.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the same, he'll look at his brother and he'll say, he'll look at Desmond and he'll say, all the same, Desmond, night, if at least one of us stays awake for the evening and keeps vigil and then sleeps until after the wedding tomorrow. So which one of us should take on that responsibility? I don't care.
Okay, well, what do you want? What, other than just being awake during the night, what do you need that person to do? Because
I think patrolling the grounds just to make double certain. Yes, we've posted guards. However, ultimately, I feel as though many of these people are somewhat suffering from what I would lovingly refer to as headless chicken syndrome, unless there's somebody there. If there is a crisis.
You know how persuasive I absolutely can't be. I'm more than glad to be up for the night, as long as I'm not having to mingle in the morning.
Very good. In that case, you'll take the night and sleep until just after the wedding, and we'll have you roused for the feast thereafter. That seem reasonable?
Better have me roused for the feast. Yeah, this should be quite fine. Good on you.
All right then. In that case, that's all. Bed.
Okay.
Yeah, then I guess is okay. Coffee isn't in this world, one assumes.
No.
It's ale and wine the whole way.
No. In the personal gear section of the player's handbook, there is tea. And I have 1 pound of tea. So I go and brew myself a pot of strong black tea.
Yes. That may not be tea as we English think of tea. That might be some strange herbal tea. Of course.
It could be. As long as it isn't chamomile, I'm sure it'll help give me a little bit of something.
Okay. I'd laugh at it.
Okay. Catelyn can also prepare you essentially well, I suppose it's sort of like there's hot mulled or spiced wine or hot mead, because they have honey. So just honey melted in water, essentially. But
I'm looking for stimulants.
Okay.
Can I prepare a drug to keep him awake?
Go respectfully.
That's fine.
I'm not taking anything like that. I don't want it to be everyone wakes up as I'm running around the halls going, come on, I heard something. Everyone, quickly.
Okay, that's fine. You can certainly stay awake. Bear in mind, you'll suffer for it tomorrow, but you can certainly stay up. That's not a problem. Okay. But okay, right. During your nightly patrols, yes, you have a night keeping vigil on both the bride and the groom's rooms. They check with them. They seem fine. Nothing untoward. They both said that the rooms have been quiet.
Has anyone gone inside to check on them, I wonder?
No. I wouldn't want to disturb them.
Then they should stick their head in through the door. If the couple are asleep, as they should be, and as they are expected to be at this time,
they're in separate rooms, and yes, they are.
Yes, so stick your head through the door, I would say.
Well, as far as I know, randomly sticking your head in on potentially locked doors, that's a bit poor form.
It does mean that if what seems to be quiet from it's a classic trope.
It is.
You think it's quiet from the outside. You look inside and there's a person.
I understand that, but the thing is, if you're wrong, this is a coin flip. If you're wrong, you come off as intrusive and like creepy.
All right. I just wanted to make Evan. I'm not wrong, am I? That is a thing that sometimes happens.
Oh, it's 100% a thing. However, once again, if we're wrong, we come across looking as intrusive and asshole-ish.
Well, yeah. Also, sticking your head on a sleeping bride to be is definitely a bit creepy. And
Oh no, not just the bride. I was going bride and groom.
It's always. It doesn't matter. There's no way of not coming off as hello.
Maester Julius became a eunuch shortly thereafter. No one ever knew why.
No. So
I will castrate with a mace. I'll do it.
So somewhere in the night, several kitchen staff who Maester Julius had not particularly liked over the last few months were force-fed various forms of poison and antidotes, and desperate to figure them out.
Okay. So back into so as I said, today you're doing your nightly patrols. You go around. You check with both nights. They both say everything's fine. The one on the fellow on Sylvie's room says, what's his name? So that night from the house on Sweeton, he dropped a hog. He dropped by, asked if she was okay. Said she was, and he went on his way. We had small talk. He seemed like a likable fellow.
Caleb, I think he needs a sleep macing.
And
voice in my head, there is no sleep mason. There's only an eternal sleep mason.
Okay, you continue your rounds. You hear the sound of stick on stick coming from the main yard.
Somebody training in the main yard.
You hurry over, and yes, you see it looks like a few of the knights that they brought with them have decided it'll be an excellent idea to have a bit of practice.
I give I give a quick whistle.
They got like a few household knights with them. I mean, as you'd expect.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I whistle like, hey, go back to your room.
Hey, come join us.
Middle of the night.
I like to think that dressed in what I will lovingly refer to as a full robe and bedroom slippers, and even though they do not exist in Westeros, a sleeping cap. I'm just going to open the window and throw a shoe at them. Be like, hey!
What the hell makes you think that sleeping caps aren't a thing in Westeros?
I don't know. It just seems more Victorian.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not going to actually do that. I just thought it was a funny mental.
Okay.
No, you totally should. Like you open your window, hey, what's going on? And I put my head out another window. I know, right? I was just telling him that.
No, okay, you know what? You know what? Fuck it. The head is coming out the window, and he'll say, "Children, I will happily school each one of you in the morning, but for now, please let me sleep. Thank you." And he will just close the windows after that.
Hey, you see how pretty the Lord is? He needs his beauty sleep. Knock it off.
Okay.
No, my attractive merit is working against me. Please.
They are stopping, but they're looking like a bit. We're not happy.
Caleb, can I make a suggestion?
Well, you have save then if you're gonna make a suggestion.
Just say to them. You know, if you don't feel able to sleep, I'm sure Maester Julius will happily supply you with a sleeping draft.
I'm not suggesting that they die. I say coming up to the main hall. I say coming up to the main hall with me. I've done my rounds anyway.
You fucking coward!
Okay.
Send me victims.
Say that shit to my fucking face.
You make your way to the main hall. The servants are sort of doing a bit of clearing up. Also, people are bedding down in there because it's inside, effectively. There's some people also do a bit of tidying. There's one of your own servant girls. You still up, my lord? Everything okay?
Well, I said, I'm burning the midnight candle, as it were, keeping everything safe. It's not that I'll say probably it's not that unheard of from my character because again he's kind of a sneak thief, kind of thuggish sort of guy. So him being up at night isn't that weird. But I'll say he takes a seat in his usual chair in the hall and pours himself a little bit of wine and says, "Yeah, how are you doing?"
The cat lads keep us busy, but I think on top of everything, they all seem very nice, don't they?
They do. Keep an eye out. In fact, tell any of the servants that if they see anything suspicious anywhere, I don't care if it's my own nephew. I don't care if they see me doing something suspicious. Tell them there's a silver stag in it for any bits of information that'll just keep this castle and this name and this house safe. Okay. Spread the word. Quiet.
Of course, my lord. Who should I tell if I see you doing something suspicious?
You send it my way. You send it to anybody with the last name of Grimm.
Very good, my lord.
And if you're telling them and you're looking to collect on the reward, you come to me. I'm not going to make it that way.
And I'm sure you'll keep us safe around all these strange northerners, my lord. She flutters her eyelashes at you.
Everything should be fine. Don't worry. But as I said, spread the word amongst the rest of the servants that keep an eye out. Vigilance is important during this time.
Okay. Yes.
Well, he'll say one more thing. Are you done cleaning up?
I can be. Would you like me to be somewhere else, my lord?
Hunter, and he poured. No, without. He's not trying to hit on her or anything. Right? He pours another goblet, puts it on a seat opposite him. Would you care to join me? I'm just a little. I've done my rounds and I'm a little lonely. Is all.
Oh, thank you. He sits down. She's like collected up She's poured the remains of the wine into one cup, so she has a cup of wine, the good stuff from the other top table.
I mean, I don't know how far you want to take this role playing, but literally, he's just trying to be nice. That's literally all it is. Nothing improprietous going on. Just literally being nice.
That's fine. Okay, fine. Yeah, you make small talk. I'll put stuff in your doc later about who she is and backstory if you find out stuff about her. Okay.
And also he's staying up and he's in the main hall, which puts him at a pretty good position to move if anything happens. So.
Okay.
The next morning, because I'm going to make a fucking point of this,
Yes.
Rylan will walk down into the central kind of the courtyard. He is going to be naked to the waist, wearing a loose jacket so that he can easily slunk off his shoulders. And he is going to quite happily make good on his promise that he will personally trounce anyone who wants to train with him, because fuck you training at 2:00 in the evening.
Okay. Right. If no one else has got anything else to do on the first night, we could leave it there, but then we have to finish at 8. I mean, I could get to the next bit, but obviously that's a good chunk of play. This is the easy break point.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, okay. So I think the plan is we'll pick up again tomorrow and have a longer session and do the rest of this episode. Unless does Zale do particularly now? Or ask anyone.
Am I going to get to beat up a bunch of knights tomorrow?
I mean, curiously, the guys that were a bit merry from drinking and want to practice are also not the ones getting up first thing in the morning. Strange that.
If you're getting up in the morning, you'll just see Desmond kind of hunched over in his chair. He's not asleep. He's just tired looking.
Yeah, I'll probably relieve him at about 8:00 in the morning or so thereabouts, so he can then go to sleep.
Incidentally, Nathan, if those men who were looking for some practice last night are a little hungover, I'm happy to supply them with a hangover draft.
Stop trying to kill our guest.
I need someone.
Okay, and so
If anyone gets poisoned and it wasn't somebody from outside this castle doing it, we're going to be very cross.
Let
cross.
Let Nathan do his roundup, guys. Continue.
Okay, so that's part 1 of Wedding Night in the Saga of House Grimm. Thank you, Pleasant Player. Thank you, watchers, for watching.